Oh, baby, we are back. It's a Friday. It's a very glorious Friday. All sorts of things going on right now. Options market's about to have a major expiration. So that's a new fucking meme right now. Bitcoin hitting the top side of the short-term time frame range. Now coming down to exactly what we spoke about yesterday. Exactly as predicted. Because I fucking see you over there. I see people thinking that that's going to be wrong. But you know what? Just give it another few hours here, or maybe just another day or so. Bitcoin has put in yet again another lower high, my friends. And even if you are bullish or bearish, well, I do think that there's a lot of things to be paying attention to today. So with that said, we are market fluid right now. Fluid as fuck. I'm market queer, and I'm the biggest gay for TA out there right now because we have all sorts of things to be talking about. And with that said, let's now focus in on the Krown application, which we found at app.krown.net. We see all sorts of things going on right now. Bitcoin dominance still more or less ranging as we do give it a chance to come down a little bit as Bitcoin holds the $42,000 to about $32,000 to $33,000 range to the greater accumulation range if you are looking at this from a Bula perspective, which I still do think is actually rather likely, but it always comes with contingencies on the other side because nothing's 100%, of course. Fear and Greed Index also coming down a little bit as well, which is actually rather interesting as Bitcoin actually did have a nice short-term move to the top side of about almost just above $40,000 yesterday. Comes down about 6-7 points to 21 right now, still in the fearful zone, which does imply that we are, well, more or less that time of the year. Anyways, open interest, pretty much the same thing as what we saw from yesterday to today as well, so nothing really crazy to speak about right there that already hasn't been said. And if we go check out the top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins, I'm just curious if there's any sort of outliers here. And yes, indeed, we do see plenty of altcoins actually getting their chance to rally up as Bitcoin ranges here, as we said was likely. Helium, Bakery Token, Theta Fuel, Theta, what the fuck is the difference between those two? XFin Network, don't know what the hell that is. Polkadot, I remember that one. Thorchain, MDEX, never heard of that thing. And Decred, hey, Decred's still around. That one's actually rather interesting. Remember that one from way back when, like 2016, 2017. Top 10 worst coins, however, Engine Coin gets smacked in the face, Stacks, OMG, not again! Silica, VeChain, Nexo, Polygon, Cello, and Digibyte all getting the red shaft right there. Anyways, big shout out, by the way, big shout out to the community because this channel just hit 69,000 subscribers. What the fuck, man? Hey, this by all metrics should not be successful. This needs to be shut down now. Guys, we are talking about magic internet beans that basically can be used for almost nothing, and someone will actually pay $35,000 or $37,000 to this exact moment right now from a guy talking about fucking dildos on the interwebs. This is insanity. This is absolute insanity, but I suppose that's what crypto is right now. So let's go to the market data tab. Let's see what else we got going on over here. I just want to say a sincere thank you with all jokes aside. That is pretty fucking special, and all memes, all meme numbers have now been hit, and that's, I don't know, man. This has definitely been the highlight of the last few years for me, man. It's like doing these streams were really fun. Just adding another dynamic to my own trading, and I just want to say a heartfelt thank you because that's fucking awesome. By the way, for the Americans out there, Memorial Day coming up. Happy Memorial Day, happy Monday holiday, and we will be having a sale for that as well, starting I think midnight tonight for UTC, whatever that might be. Anyways, funny rates, and what else do we see over here? Open interest, yeah, open interest flat as all hell. Price action still down. Obviously, we do see that there is no talks of an uptrend beginning until Bitcoin at the very least takes out about $42,000 the upside on it, on like a higher term time frame closure. But even then, where's technically our last lower high, it'd still be all the way over here on a daily specifically. Obviously, lower term time frame is going to be different. So keep in mind that if you are looking for a reversal from here over time, it's probably not happening anytime soon. Bitcoin's likely to, base out at this level. If you are super bullish, this is probably what you're looking for. I strongly would push back on the people who are saying Bitcoin option expiration has 50,000 strike max pain. That's bullshit, and people really do not understand this data, and they say all sorts of just very, very interesting things we'll say. Anyways, so we'll get to that in a second. I do want to get through this over here. Funny rate is actually still showing a little bit negative right now, but we did see several exchanges actually posted a much more global negative rate, global funny rate that is. Over the last few days. Now it seems like a lot of them are actually popping back up to just around parity at 0.01, which does imply that overall I would be looking for this to, well, maybe play out a little bit of downside here. Anyways, Jesus Christ, man, the spammers and shillers are already out in force. Holy fuck, man. No rest for the for the wicked over there. I strongly believe, however, that if you are spamming your favorite shitcoin in hopes of like promoting it, you're probably just pissing people off and turning people off from it. So if you like want to have any little little reverse psychology going on, you're definitely doing a good job, my friend. I will definitely be buying your AMC tokens and your fucking bakery tokens and all this bullshit that people seem to love. Anyways, I want to go back on over here into the into the options market data, looking at put call ratios. We do see that it's still increasing in favor of calls. For MSO2 today, this is what I'm talking about right here, the max pain at $50,000, which people think that immediately means that, oh, Bitcoin has to pump back up there. No. I want to introduce you to a good meme right now. This is actually beautiful by Mr. FBS himself, and it fucking explains my thoughts exactly perfectly. The large traders hedging their Bitcoin options exposures during expiration in exactly one direction. Now, are they in the room with us right now? Fucking exactly, man. This is ridiculous stuff. This is a very, very immature way of looking at the options market. Look, first off, people are not like holding these worthless fucking options less than 1 day until expiration. I mean, I think we actually just have a few more hours until expiry happens on Deribit right here, and that means all these positions will expire. And seeing as a lot of them are going to be worthless as fuck, except for the puts, that just means very little, as all these traders have very, very likely already rolled their positions maybe like a week or two ago. Typically speaking, people will start to look to roll, especially professionals and institutions will start to roll about 2 weeks before expiration. No one likes holding worthless fucking premium, and it's, you know, mostly risk anyways. Hey, what's up, Burn Toe Arm? Profile name is supposed to be Burn to Earn. Oh, Burn to Earn. Thoughts on Ace Bar? Hey man, we'll get to shitcoins a little bit later. Before I lose my mind, I'm just going to turn off the alerts. What's up, Mr. Josh? Good morning, sir. Good morning, my friend. Here he is. Yeah, there you go, my friend. Hey, good to see you as always, Josh. And let's focus back in on over here. So we can definitely see that the June regulars are getting played a shit ton right now. We see a few more strikes added that are getting played humongously. We see the $80,000 strike actually getting a lot of love right there. 60,000 strike also getting a lot of interest as well. These are going to be ones that I want you to kind of monitor going onwards and forwards into June, but that could align with a few other interesting things. More importantly though, what do we see? I mean, we already see people rolling their positions. So this is just the next fucking meme within this market. Don't fall under the spell of these very silly and immature explanations of the options market. There's a million fucking ways to hedge things, like as this meme did kind of allude to, and I can assure you of that. I mean, shit, man, you don't know if these guys are spreading, you don't know if they're covering, you don't know if they're strangling, you don't know if they're straddling, you don't know what the fuck they're doing, you don't know if they're doing a calendar spread as well. You don't know, you have no fucking idea. There's a million ways to do these things, and more importantly, all we can look at is just the data right in front of us. So looking at like a max pain price of $50,000 strike, that's just ridiculous. We're not going to pump up there today. I can almost assure you of that. However, I probably shouldn't say something like that, because anytime that I do say something more directly clear like that, usually doesn't happen. Anyways, I want to go back into our actual price action charts themselves, because it is time to get into what we spoke about yesterday. So yesterday, I was looking for a move to the downside of this range. I actually still do believe that will happen. I know a lot of people had some very interesting and perhaps demeaning things to say, but that's okay. Just wait one more day, my friends. Just wait one more day, because we have yet again another lower high right here. Yes, I was a day early, but at the end of the day, you know, this is structure right now. We're looking at a structure, and overall, I do still have the long-term bullish view here. And with that in mind, I do think that Bitcoin will come down here the second that we take out this last 12-hour low from 27th of May. That would just be yesterday, the opening one. That is, I'd be looking for that move to come all the way down somewhere around $35,000, maybe maybe 1,000 or 2 lower than that on a wick. But overall, I'm still looking at, low 30s, anywhere around 34 to 35 for Bitcoin to try for another major low. If you are bullish on Bitcoin, you are likely looking at something relatively similar. The reason why is because you're looking for an accumulation phase. Remember, we had a very obvious Wyckoff distribution top right here, confirmation on the break below $50,000 right here. And if you are looking at that as a Wyckoff distribution top, then what you're looking for on the other side is an accumulation phase somewhere within the Wyckoff sort of ideology, which I'm a big fan of. I'm not an expert with it. There's definitely a lot of people out there who are much better at it than me, but I would suggest that make sure that you verify someone on that, because a lot of people will claim to be experts with Wyckoff, but realistically, it's rather detailed, and it does take a lot of concerted effort, and realistically, very few people are actually experts on it, to be quite honest with you. So with that said, what you're essentially looking for is something relatively similar to this right here. This would be your accumulation event, and I believe that we're somewhere within phase B. I believe that we just kind of hit this this high right here. This is what happened yesterday, and Bitcoin works its way back down somewhere around our current lows. Now, as I've been saying, in phase C, you don't always have to make a lower low for the spring. You don't have to. Just anywhere around there is good enough, which is why I do say anywhere around about, I guess on a closing base, we have about just below 35,000 bucks is good, is fine by me. Can Bitcoin close at 34, 33? Yep, that's completely fine. I don't have any major issues with that. If we throw back on our drawing tools over here, I did kind of have a presumptive area of potential accumulation here, which, could lead us into maybe late June or something like that. But remember, the other signals that I'm looking for to really denote that it's time to potentially put some long-term risk on, not that this is financial advice, it's furthering from financial advice, but I would be looking at this over here, and we still do not see the hash ribbons giving off that blue buy signal. It's still, certainly a topic of conversation. It's getting closer and closer as each and every day ticks off. We're still waiting for the 10 and 20 simple to kind of cross over with each other with regards to the hash rates, but it is getting closer, as you can imagine. But until we get that, just historically speaking, it has never been a good time to put risk on for long-term upside positions. As we do see all of these signals in the past, couple years right here, they do play out rather well, but they take some time to really transpire. Now, I won't go through the whole rigmarole on this one. I'll say the same thing as I did, over the last few days. Check out the long-term analysis playlist. That's going to be much more detailed in what, in what I'm looking for right there. And, I can kind of just spoil the surprise for you, although I would suggest that you do your own analysis with this as well, because, it's always good to be in control of your own, thoughts and whatnot. But if I'm giving mine, what I'd say right here is, look, we did an analysis on this. We found that about a month and a half passes between your capitulation signal and then your blue buy signal. And then from your blue buy signal to your next major sort of momentous move to the upside in this case would be on average about 1 to 2 weeks. So we're getting closer there. We did have our capitulation signal way back over here in late April 23rd to 24th to be exact. So now that we are in late May right now, we have maybe like a few more weeks of this. Perhaps late June, I would be looking for Bitcoin to perhaps make another move once again, or at least try some upside. But until we get that blue buy signal, there's really there is still a major threat that Bitcoin could just drop out the lows. And if Bitcoin does drop at the lows, then I would be looking at targets towards 25,000 bucks. What would be my actionable sort of metric to be met in order for that to become a reasonable target for myself? I'd want to see one of two things. This one would be the obvious one, although it would require a bit of waiting. This would be the weekly closing on new lows. That would confirm our downtrend right here. Obviously, we do have a high, low, higher high right here. And then obviously, if we do come back down and take out this last low, then we would have a lower low. So we'd have that first sort of etching in place. Technically speaking, we still actually don't have a lower high on the weekly specifically in place. Yes, we do on all time frames lower than that. They are in downtrends here. And remember, trends are pretty damn powerful, especially in Bitcoin. I mean, even with the daily trend, that's what really got us very cautious on this last move to about 58,000 to 59,000 bucks right here. And then of course, on that break of 50,000 bucks, that was like, okay, it's time to look for, 40, I think it was like a low 40 target, and then 35,000 bucks, which we did hit. Well, all of them, we shouted them all the way down to about 30,000 bucks on a wick, but I am looking at closures right here. So that is how I measure things off. The other way that I'd be looking at this is perhaps if you do use a 3-day, you could say, or even a daily in this case too, or where exactly would a daily be? A closure below about 30,500, then yes, or even maybe even 32,000 bucks right here. The 377 you really don't want to see violated in a bull market anyways. And if that does start to happen, yes, I will start to look at targets towards 25,000 bucks. And of course, while this is shaping up to be, or at least as of right now, I still do think that it has the etchings of very likely accumulation right here. We do see some signs of professional accumulation. It's still pretty damn young within its own consolidation. And if you are bearish, just like the bulls, they'd be looking at accumulation down here. Well, if you're looking at this from a Wyckoff perspective, the bears are going to be looking at this as redistribution. And to be fair, the bears have a lot of things on their side. I mean, all trends are down up to a weekly. That's pretty fucking bad. And as we do see, momentum oscillators on the short-term timeframes over here are all angled to the downside right now. So I do think that Bitcoin, I would still stick with what I said yesterday, with Bitcoin coming down somewhere around the current lows, anywhere between 33 to 35,000 bucks is fair game. I mean, perhaps even as low as 32 on a wick. Who knows where people get liquidated in this fucking 100x market. But looking at this right here, 4-hour Stokes nice and breaking, 3-hour Stokes already down. And sorry, let's actually call out these numbers here too. So we will remain with downside momentum as long as Bitcoin's below 39,500. That's a clean about 2,000 bucks away from Bitcoin, where Bitcoin is right now. 3-hour is 39.6, bi-hourly is 39 almost even, and hourly is also down to 37,650ish region as well. So I do think that Bitcoin has some downside, very likely today or tomorrow, maybe over this weekend. weekend. Same thing basically as yesterday, except yesterday was just basically a day early. And I know that, and again, I do actually have a lot of fun reading some of the comments, sort of like, Krown, you're way too bearish, you stupid idiot, you're talking your book, you're unbiased, you're not biased, you're an idiot. It's like, okay, all right, well, the market doesn't usually happen in just one day. I mean, it's a continuous market overall. And yes, I can very well be wrong, but there's really no threat of Bitcoin putting in like a major move to the upside, at least in my opinion, especially as long as Bitcoin is below this $41,000 pivot right here on about a, even a 4-hour closure would probably do it for me. In fact, yes, indeed, it would do it for me. 41.5 on a 4-hour or a wick higher than what we saw over here at about 43. Whichever one happens first, then yes, I would be looking for Bitcoin to have some nice rips to the upside. We could talk about $5,000 to $7,000 rips all the way up to the 0.5 or the 618 Fibonacci retracement right here. Again, this would be a bearish retracement to be fair, but I think that these numbers are still very much relevant. I'm talking about this right here at about $47,000 and just around $50,000 as well. Those would be legitimate targets if Bitcoin were to do something like that, taking out this range high. But until that happens, there's really no concerted bull move that I'm looking at right here. I'm just looking at a ranging market. That's all, man. Enjoy the ranges. Yes, it's boring. You want it to be fucking boring. If you are bullish, if you're bearish, you want this one to break down relatively soon. And you're looking at something like this. You're probably looking at some sort of, fucked up descending triangle kind of forming itself right here. And you'd be looking for to kind of fill this out for a little bit longer, maybe into like into like middle of June, and then break down with confirmations below, probably I'd say a daily below $32,000, and then yes, you can very easily target $25,000 after that point. I mean, that will be essentially the width of this range right here. And if we do take that from the actual breakout point, which would be just around 32, actually I'm getting to target towards about 20. It's probably bounced there first, but ultimately I don't really see anything else coming in there. Ultimately, I do think that Bitcoin would work its way down to 25 and maybe even lower than that over time. I mean, it's certainly not out of the question, but I actually do still lean a little bit more towards the upside. I think that Bitcoin very likely does try to cradle the lows like a little baby, somewhere between about 35 and 32. And, the more time that it puts in there, basically being boring as all hell, probably the better is what I'm thinking right now. So while short term is down, I do want to offer up the long term narrative, at least in the way that I'm thinking of it. And the reason why I have that rule is simply because of the weekly trend. The weekly trend has been your friend the whole history of Bitcoin. Anytime that we've seen a weekly reversal, that has been your macro trends for a while now. Again, I won't make declarations on whether I think that this is a bull market or bear market. I think it's technically speaking, if you're going by the textbook definition, it is actually not a bear market right now. It's still actually a bull market on the macro scale. But the problem is that means very fucking little, because Bitcoin can dump out fucking 50% and it's like, oh, well, it's not a bear market, so buy. It's like, no, that's ridiculous. That's absurd. That is going to get you absolutely fucking wrecked. But again, it does deserve a lot of merit in the sense that, yes, we actually don't have a weekly downtrend just yet. Anytime that we have had a weekly reversal, those have been, a half a year to even a year and a half or more of, well, same direction movement. And in this case right here, if we do take out $32,000 on a weekly, then, well, you will have your downtrend in place. You will have a lower low. I would look for Bitcoin to still rally up somewhere into like the mid to low $40,000 region, put in a lower high on the weekly, and then that's going to be the time to absolutely fucking stomp on this bitch. But for right now, I still do kind of go with the former on the macro scale specifically. And again, I hope that I'm expressing those ideas clearly enough, because I feel like that can massively be misheard. But as it stands right now, like we looked at over here, all lower term time frame momentum oscillators are downside angled. We even see Character's STC defining this as a falling trend right now. So good, consolidating the bearish control zone. Yes, indeed, I would certainly agree with that. 12 hours also about to turn down as well. If we do have any sort of a closure in the next, I guess we have another like 6 or so hours. So it's, it's got some time at around below 36,600-ish region. And by the way, that's coming in right in line with this trend line right here, and also guarding against the edge of the bullish control zone. So I would be looking at that as a bit of a, a bit of a short-term, downside twist as well. Very likely comes down and tests somewhere around 35, maybe a little bit lower than that. And daily still upside angled, but this to me is looking like a bearish reset, at least for the time being. We see the daily Stokes popping up all the way to the edge of the bearish control zone right now, and price action is just in the middle of this range right here. So technically speaking, there are certainly a lot of things suggesting that we will get downside continuation, but I would still give Bitcoin a chance here at about $32,000. Below there, no more excuses for this piece of shit. No more excuses for this magic internet money, as that's when really got or at least I'd really have to start to look much lower. But for right now, all good, or at least kind of all good, kind of all good. What you're looking for if you're bullish is you're looking for a piece of boringness now. You're looking for Bitcoin to kind of level out over the next month or two, go sideways, bore the shit out of people. You want people to stop talking about Bitcoin. We want no more of this doggy coin nonsense, no more of this fucking Shibi coin nonsense, no more of these food token bullshits. I mean, for the love of fucking God, man, I saw that like another one of these food tokens got hacked or whatever, maybe not hacked, but like attacked, right? In the last 24 or 48 hours. I mean, it's just ridiculous that you know, this is still a thing. And I do believe that in the next sort of phase of the maturing of this market, we're going to see a lot of these bullshits just washed away. No more, you know, no more of that. It does have to evolve at some point. And I imagine that comes alongside of Bitcoin, you know, getting an announcement for an ETF, which I think could actually even happen this year, very, very likely next year. But I do think that this year is actually rather likely. I mean, Bitcoin in this crypto market is traded like fucking 2 trillion, I think, across all exchanges in the last month. I mean, that's massively overshadowing equity markets. Now, of course, it is a worldwide market, so, you know, a bit of a different thing, but, you know, it's going to be hard for the bigger, you know, for those bigger exchanges to ignore this when, well, what's their business model? Their business model is they're an exchange. They want more and more trades going through because that's how they make fucking money. So it would actually be in their best interest, their best financial interest, to put in, you know, something resembling a Bitcoin ETF. So I do think that will happen over, you know, at relatively soonish, you know, probably within this next six months to a year. I'd still kind of stick with that, but overall, for right now, Bitcoin having a bit of just downside displeasures. Anyways, all right, let's see. Miguel says, hey, Mr. Krown, can you, hey, what's up, Mr. Miguel? Can you elaborate on Wyckoff method? I'm not the guy to do that. I can probably put together like a decent enough one for a beginner, but I'm not a Wyckoff expert. I know it because I think it's very relevant, but Wyckoff takes, you know, it probably takes like a few years of like concerted effort to like truly understand, you know, and especially like you want to learn from someone who's like, that's their main source of edge. For myself, man, like I spent that same time, but more or less learning like range trading. That's where I essentially, do the best that I can, or anything at all in some cases. Some days, man, I'm like, how the fuck did I ever even do this? But that's another story for another time, perhaps. Anyways, as we do dial in the short-term timeframes over here, let's make sure that we mark off all the relevant regions. Yep. Okay. Got 35 to about 34 and a half. I would be looking at that as a relevant region, obviously. And then I want to mark off about 32 as well. That's going to be right around here on that wick low, anywhere around there. So these are the levels that I'd be looking for on the downside. I do think that Bitcoin will very likely try, you know, a decent bounce from here, maybe as low as $32,000. Remember, we can make a lower low over here and still play out this accumulation phase. That would be a spring. That would be denoted as a spring. Maybe looking for, you know, kind of a couple tests within that region as well. And this is what I'm talking about right here. I really don't have any, I don't really see any real major threatening move to the upside. And when I say threatening move to the upside, I mean another move back up to about 47, maybe even $50,000 until Bitcoin takes out the range highs right here. And where are range highs? Once again, our range highs are right here, 42.5 on a wick basis, or if you're looking at a closing basis, probably about 41.5, I would say. I'd want to see that on a higher term time, or at least a medium term time frame, like a 12-hour, before getting a little bit more gung ho about that. But then, at that point, Bitcoin very likely does rip quite a bit to the upside. But like I've been saying for a while now, it's actually better for Bitcoin to spend some more time on the lows. You want to see a more long-form accumulation zone going in. Why is that? Because the longer that accumulation happens, the more likely, the more likely that the market will stay to the upside over time. For example, when Bitcoin did put in about from July 2019 to September 2020, so yeah, almost a little bit over a year accumulation phase right here. And this one is quite a big one right here. That led us into about a 3x move off of the break of your prior highs. Pretty fucking impressive. Actually, more than a 3x. This was a 6x move because this really started at about $11,500. That was your actual breakout right here. So the longer that it takes, actually, the better in my experience. If Bitcoin can spend like a couple months here, that would be good for some more continuation, and we can start to talk about targets back into the deeper, like $70,000, $80,000, maybe even 6 digits. But for a lot of people asking if I think that Bitcoin's going to hit like $250,000 by end of this year. First off, I don't know why it would need to, and then second off, no, I don't think so. I also don't care if it does either. It really scares me when people ask questions like that, because it's like, oh fuck, is this person like banking on Bitcoin actually getting to these crazy numbers? I mean, that's gonna imply that Bitcoin has like real adoption, like you can actually use it in the traditional ways, which I think is coming. I actually think that is coming. You see the infrastructure being built up, with those tax laws that we saw reiterated a couple weeks ago. That's actually a good thing. I mean, basically, if you read the fucking papers on it, which I actually did. I actually went through and read them. It's boring as all hell, but I did read them because there's actually a couple of important things right there. Basically, what they're saying is they're preparing for this to become a very, very important asset class in the years to come. In the next decade, they said that the usage is only going to go up. So that's the government essentially preparing and also reminding you of something that, well, is actually pretty fucking normal anyways. Like, hey, you have to pay your taxes. So reminder, and yeah, it's going to be annoying to actually have to tell the IRS, or I guess, or make some sort of declaration whenever you move more than $10,000 in cryptocurrencies. But the thing with that is that that's actually a pretty damn common law with any sort of an asset. So they're actually legitimizing this asset class by giving it those sorts of rules, not tearing it down. So I think people massively have this backwards. What we want to see, or at least what I would want to see from this asset, is I want to see Bitcoin get integrated into the current traditional structure. And we're going to take some good things from Bitcoin, and we're going to take some good things from the traditional structure, and then we're going to add them together for something better overall. Because Bitcoin, at the end of the day, is a fucking asset. It's not going to be used as a peer-to-peer payment thing. It's just not set up well for that. I know that is in the white paper, but that is not how the government is kind of treating it right now. They've made a clear and obvious statement that it is an asset, a crypto asset, not a cryptocurrency, and that's fucking true. Because if you were using a currency, you need it to be flat, man. Dixie over here moves in like 1/1000th of a decimal point every on a tick. Bitcoin moves in $1,000 in like an hour. You can't have that. So it's probably going to act as like some sort of a store of value in the same way that you have like a house, as an asset, for example, or like a treasury asset. Something like that kind of makes more sense in my opinion. And I think that that's a good thing. You also hear Michael Saylor very likely talking about that as well. And I think that he's right on the fucking money. Anyways, let's go check out Dixie really quickly here, as Dixie is very much relevant to what we're looking at right now too. Dixie did have a nice little rally yesterday. As we did say, another bounce off of the $89.5 level was likely once again. Now, I do still think that this is incredibly fucking weak here. No doubt about that, but it can spend some more time bouncing around here. I still think that it could even rally up, maybe even all the way to $91. Ultimately, though, it is looking pretty good for a breakdown long term. Now, long term on this would mean like a monthly is like a daily in Bitcoin, and really realistically, you want to be looking at a quarterly. And this is nasty right here. Yes, I do think it's going to get marked down at probably over the next year or so, but for right now, does that mean it breaks down exactly this moment? No, I think it rallies up a little bit. Bitcoin probably comes down a little bit against it, and then maybe like later this year we start to see it actually break down a bit. But all sorts of bearish things going on right here. No problem long term. We even see it in euro dollar as well, which is actually a pretty damn easy way to be looking at this. Quarterly, I think, is a lot more obvious right here. You can see a clear trending going on, and so we got a high, we got a low, we got a lower high, and testing around your prior lows is usually not going to create a higher low. Very, very rarely do I see those kind of pick themselves up. Does happen every once in a while, but in this case, no, I think that things are coming down here. All momentum oscillators are bearish. Even the quarterly jewels gave a sell signal in April, actually, which was April of 2020. That is not April of this year, but April 2020, which was right here, not on the high, but on the quarterly after the high. So I do put quite a bit of weight on that, and I do think that this will come down into like the mid, maybe even low 80s, which is gonna fucking suck for me because I live my life in dollars and I don't live in America. I live in Europe, which maybe is not a good decision anymore, financially speaking. Anyways, okay, cool. So I think we've spoken. I think I've spoken your head off on just about all of that. Maybe it's time to get into some comment action right now. Let's see if I can pull them up. Let's see if Elsa has been sending them to me. Has she? Oh, she already has. Nice one. All right, there she is. All right, yep. I definitely got those ones. All right, so burn to earn. Got it. I thought it was toe arm. That's how bad my vision is, man. I actually can't see. Like my screen is that I read the comments from is about a foot away from me. I can barely fucking see the ARN. It looks like an arm instead of earn. Anyways, H bar. Okay, so what the hell is this thing? By the way, I do have to warn you. The reason why I started this the reason why I started the stream early today is because I do have to leave in about an hour and 20 minutes or so, and that's going to be like a hard stop. So unfortunately, if any comments happen after that, I will have to leave. I cannot stay for it. I have a very, very important appointment to hopefully get a fucking bank account in this goddamn forsaken country, which absolutely hates foreigners. But looking at H bar USD, yep, I'd be looking for some downside here too. Very likely coming back down to about 21.5, maybe into all the way down to 20 cent even. All sorts of nastiness going. Well, I wouldn't say it's nastiness, but short term, yes, very, very likely have some downside here. Looking at the weekly, weekly actually looks like it kind of wants to break down, which is not good, but still a few days left to close on that one. Daily, I think, speaks a little bit more, what is it, forthrightly. Daily TSI, obviously getting rejected, getting out of the bearish buy zone and turning back down is usually not going to be a bullish thing. Yes, we did have some bullish divergence on the last couple lows, but that, I believe, has already played out on this move from about, 22 all the way to 27. Decent enough right there, and trend remains to the downside, and this is looking like another lower high to me. So I'd be looking for debates out down here. Maybe we'll check out a lower term time frame as well. Yeah, lower term time frames look a lot more conclusive actually, which is kind of funny. But we do see several drives of hidden and regular bearish divergence on this phantom div, as we call it, which is funny. I know that it's not textbook, but after working with Character RSI for I guess almost a year now, in fact, I'm a believer in it. I think that he's discovered something new. I think that he's actually discovered something new, and like no one fucking knows it, and maybe he doesn't even know it as well. But it actually works, which is fucking weird. Super weird. I would have completely shitted on that idea, before having that experience. But I don't know, man. After a year of results, yeah, they don't work out every goddamn time, but enough for me to respect it. That's for sure. Anyways, 4-hour TSI looking like it's turning down as well. And by the way, volatility is about to spruce back up here too. Oh, that reminds me, by the way, back on a Bitcoin here. I completely flubbed this one as well. So the other big thing that I'm looking for on Bitcoin is obviously the BBWP with that moving average, as we identified, over the last few days realistically. And the big thing with this one is that now we actually do have it crossing. So naturally speaking, the moving average will start to level out and hopefully get a negative slope. What I want to see is something similar to what we had on coronavirus dump times in March 2020 right here. That was when BBWP got to 100 percentile, similar to what we did recently, actually after a 50% drop in, just a couple days as well. Very similar actually activity. And then once we actually got this wrangled below with a negative slope on the moving average for the BBWP, that's when Bitcoin did put in its first official higher low. That was your obvious bullish signal right here. Anyways, what I'm looking for right here is I'm looking for, if I am going to be bullish, I'm looking for something relatively similar. I want to see this get a negative slope, and I want to see Bitcoin put in something resembling a low that's hopefully not lower than especially 32,000 bucks. I don't think it'd be too problematic if it actually did close a little bit lower than 35, to be honest with you, but anywhere below 32 is kind of like my line in the sand for this market right now. We do see momentum oscillators on the daily, I should say, actually very likely going to pop up in the next few days here. I mean, it's so fucking beat up down here, but it still admittedly is in deep within the bearish control zone, to be fair. Holy fuck, Elsa just dumped a whole shit ton of comments on me. Crypto Signal says 20,000 incoming when institutions miss the boat, they bring the boat back. I mean, you can say that, but you can say that, but that doesn't really seem like. I mean, you could make the same sort of assessment. Okay, it's not that I'm saying that I disagree with you, but that's a very, in my opinion, immature way of looking at things. Not to directly insult you, but to insult the idea. More importantly, you as a person, you're great. As an idea, I would have to push back on that, because you could make the same sort of assessment and say, okay, well, when institutions miss a boat, they push the boat back. All right, why not push it all the way back to 10,000 then? Why not? I mean, it would still actually be on the 200 simple, or I guess 16,000 and 13,000 is around the 200 simple. Why not push it all the way back there? I mean, it doesn't mean that it can't happen. It's just, why choose 20,000 bucks? You can push the boat back all the way that you fucking want with unlimited money, of course. Anyways, do I think that it's possible to kind of give you the merit on the idea? Yeah, absolutely, it's possible, but I want to see a few things happen first. Obviously, closing that weekly below 32,000 bucks would be a big one for me, or the daily, even a daily below 32 is going to start to look kind of nasty too. At least, at least getting a continuation move down to like maybe 38 and a half, and 28 and a half, and then probably does drop it out to 25 and then 20, and at that point, yeah, you're going to be right. Anyways, now Mr. Armand, there he is. Dear Krown Bro, dear Mr. Armand, Armand around the world. XLM short and medium term against US dollar and Bitcoin, just US dollar, please. Well, I actually already have it charted out over here from Poloniex. I got the longest running exchange, I believe. And this one looking for some downside too, man. I don't like the way this is looking, currently speaking. We do have a jewel sell signal on the weekly. It's not like my favorite one to be looking at right there. I want to see it have a little more curvature within that. Usually those ones don't play out as nastily. Short and medium term, well, I'm looking at a daily right now. I do think that this one will come down with Bitcoin somewhere around about 36 to 38 cent, and try to base, once again right here. If it does start to break below about 35.5 cents. I would extend those targets to the downside somewhere around the 377, which is going to be about 29.25, 29.5 cent region. And I give it a chance to kind of base out right there. If you're looking at short term, I'd be looking at a 4-hour. Yep, looking at a 4-hour, I'd be looking for this one to come down to about 36.5 cents. If, assuming Bitcoin drops it out and moves towards about 35 or maybe even lower than that. 4-hour TSI getting rejected right at the 0 read and sticking within the bearish control zone. Not necessarily the picture of health and fitness. And 4-hour RSI is neutral to slightly bearish. Even has a head and shoulders on the RSI, which actually put a lot more weight on formations in RSI, like the more exotic ones, which actually considered head and shoulders one. In this would actually work out as that. Yes. Don't necessarily like them on price action, however. Super Googly Lee, what's up, man? Hello, sir. How you doing, man? Could we have a look at Hang Seng Index daily and weekly? Okay, I'm not familiar with this, so I'm just going to type it in here and hopefully, okay, it's right there. So this is obviously a Chinese, some sort of a Chinese index. Just looking at the 4-hour RSI, it's bullish. And it is bullish. What do you fucking know, man? I'd be looking for a short-term move back up to the top side of this range. That'd be right around about 29.6-ish region. And I imagine the daily is going to be looking pretty good here. And indeed it is. I'd be looking for this one to overall move back up to the highs of this rally here. This is looking like clear and obvious reaccumulation. We have those higher lows right here. We do have an ascending triangle if you want to put a formation on it. And long term, I mean, this actually is, decent enough. Actually very, very good long term on a weekly. So I'm bullish on pretty much all time frames here. Short-term continuation, and even the weekly has a golden cross here too. Reaccumulation, formation. Yeah, I like it. Pretty damn good one, man. Pretty damn good one. All right, let's see. Okay, got that one. Mr. Abbott Dynamic, he's back. How you doing, sir? Why does Elsa need a fund? Is there nanos? Yeah, we need to teach her how to do more video editing so we can get more content on this channel, which is actually doing pretty damn good on. And it's actually paid off. It's actually her education's actually paid off quite a fair bit. So it's awesome, man. It's like cool to see. Yes, you have to educate yourself and then your talent comes out second, sir. Anyways, Tony Dimov, what's up, man? XMR USD. Okay, we got Monero over here, and I believe, yes, I do have Monero right here. It's probably going to be falling in Bitcoin, I'd imagine. Short term, does that mean it has a little bit of downside? I would be giving it a chance to kind of base out somewhere around like 220-ish region. If it wants to take a little bit of a leg lower, I'd be looking somewhere around 200 even. Short term, 4-hour, yeah, looking like it wants to turn down as well. I'm really not liking this signal right here. So BBWP is massively contracted. That means that we're looking for expansion. And on the contraction phase, we did see essentially an anemic rally to the upside, basically just putting another lower high on the 12-hour and I believe daily as well now. It's not necessarily confirmed on a daily, but I would say on a 12-hour, yes. So to me, that is very, very likely to come back down and test around the lows. I'd probably go as far as saying $200, but again, look for Bitcoin on direction. I do think that Bitcoin will essentially come down to about 35, maybe a little bit lower than that. Same thing as yesterday, essentially. And redemption, it's the wrong way to be thinking for myself, though, to be quite honest with you, because, as always, whenever I do have essentially a target, which I fucking hate that sort of terminology. There's always a non-zero probability that it can be wrong. That's why you need to have contingencies on both sides. In this case right here, we do see hidden bearish divergence formulating itself on the 12-hour, and usually after that, yeah, I'd be looking for somewhere around the current low structure. So between about 200 and 210 short term, maybe like 220-ish region. All right, let's see, what else do we have here? Churning out, says Josh, my fucking man. Always love seeing Josh. Donaldo, Mr. Armand says, and sir, Ave short and long term against USD and Bitcoin. All right, we'll do USD here. I think it's just gonna be the easier one and the most relevant one here too. We'll go to Binance for this one. Yep, again, another lower high right here in comparison to our last high on the 12-hour. That would be all the way at 470 versus about 400. Not necessarily the best right there. Hidden bearish divergence is formulating itself as well. So this would be your medium term. I'd probably be looking for a move down somewhere around like 325. If Bitcoin really drops out to like 32 or 33, I'd be looking for this one to pop down to 280-ish region. 4-hour is doing what? 4-hour has some phantom diff right there too. Basically the same signals that we see on just about everything right now as this does turn down. So I do favor the downside right now, especially as long as low term time frame trend remains to the downside. And I believe, actually, did Bitcoin put in a 4-hour downtrend just yet? Okay, so we got a lower high right here. Here's our, is this a low? Is it not a low? Some people would say this is a low. Some people would say this is not a low. In fact, we'd probably have to go to a 2-hour to actually really get this one. Yeah, on a 2-hour, it's obviously a low, but taking out that low, yes, we would have a downtrend on a 2-hour. What about a 3-hour? Yep, I would say so as well. And 4-hour, it's kind of working on it. It's more of a complex high right here on a 4-hour, but we don't really need to split hairs on that one overall. Again, I stick with what I've been saying. As long as Bitcoin's below 41,000, especially, can it come up and test the top side of the range? Yeah, I mean, it really isn't asking too much, but ultimately, trend does remain down on all time frames that realistically matter. Let's see. Lena Lu says ANKR. ANKR. I haven't seen you here before, so welcome and good to meet you, Mrs. Lena or Lena? Anchor Tether. Okay. Trades on Binance must be great. Oh, this is the same fucking signal I've seen a million goddamn times today. Multiple drives of hidden bearish divergence. Volatility about to turn up as well. 4-hour TSI turning down. That's really good. That's really healthy. I'd be looking for this one short term to about 10 cents. And, again, if Bitcoin comes down to like 33 or 32, I'd be looking for this one below 10 cents at like 8.5 or 9. This one, yeah, this one getting a little bit of shellacking here too. 200 exponential mean average is right around actually just above 8 cents to be fair right now. So that would be kind of a hard base, maybe on a liquidation wick, perhaps. Let's see. Mr. Almasari, how you doing, man? Good morning to you. Any book suggestions other than Trading in the Zone, leaning more to TA? And can you look at GE medium term time frame, please? Okay, I'll put up GE right here, General Electric. Okay, so book suggestions. The problem with book suggestions that are like actually focused on real trading is I don't find them very useful. Now, personally speaking, I think when it comes to trading, speaking from experience as someone who's actually like made or tried their best to make a trading program to like actually teach people who don't know how, like, what the fuck to do, what to do. It's difficult enough to do it with like video examples from the past, and learning something from a book is not only going to be, well, one, outdated as soon as it's printed, but two, it's like, what if there's so many nuanced situations, it just seems like it'd be very, very difficult. Now there is one book that is kind of like the general Bible-ish. I think it's like $50 or $60. It's stock market and it's something like technical analysis and stock market profits, I think. That's a decent one to get into. Bulkowski books are probably fine too if you want to be a pattern trader. That's not really for me, but I think it can be okay. Most of the things that you want to learn can probably be found for free on the internet. However, I even have a pretty big free playlist now too on this YouTube channel that is titled TA 101 that will run you through the extreme basics and then some pretty simple strategies and like a roadmap of how you can actually put together your own plan. And honestly, I think that's probably going to be good enough for most people. Like, they don't need to get a program, they don't need to get anything. They can just run with that, come up with some very, very simple thing. Maybe just trade the fucking trend. I mean, it's not anything glorious, but hey, if you trade the trend, well, you would have been short on Bitcoin at $50,000. So there you go, right? My point is that I don't really care for books as far as trading goes. GE looking good as hell right here, though, on the daily. I would say this is a clean breakout. Have we taken out the range highs? We've just about, yes. So this one's breaking out right now. So let's actually look at this really, really quickly here. We got some resembling like this, but ultimately the books that I do read are actually focused on psychology more than anything else, because I feel like that has been my biggest sticking point with me getting into the trading game. As I think that most people can learn some sort of a strategy relatively easily, but applying that strategy seems to like really be where a lot of people get messed up. So that's what I'd say about that. But it sounds like you don't want those type of books, so I won't even bother listing them. But there are several that actually pretty much live my life by. Anyways, I'd be looking for this one to pop up to just under $16. Long term, is this a macro reversal? It could be. It could be. The quarterly actually does have a lot of good signals going on here. Could easily extend that move all the way to 18.5, maybe even above $20. But at least for right now, or actually, do we have? Yeah, we do have bullish divergence actually on the quarterly. And now it's very far away, but I do think on a high term time frame like this, you can use that. I actually do think that this one will pop up a lot more long term, but I don't know what time frame you're really looking at. At any rate, I mean, it's pretty much bullish on all time frames right here. So depends exactly what you want to be seeing. Okay, Blue Blood 99 says, "Hey Krown, what's up, man? Would like to know your view on Elrond EGLD versus Bitcoin." Okay, daily weekly chart. Okay, EGLD BTC. All right, on Binance. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so this one is versus the Bitcoin parent to be to be very, very clear here, because this is not going to be the same thing as looking at it versus US dollar. I actually don't hate it in its current stature. The reason why is because on the weekly, you do still have this higher low structured right here. You still have kind of like the same highs right here. So I would actually run at this with the idea that first and foremost, it is probably reaccumulation. However, if we go down to the short-term time frame, see if this is having any sort of short-term issues. Yeah, it is. I'd be looking for it to probably base out around this region again, like 2,600 Satoshis. Here's the thing though, as soon as it takes out this last daily low, especially on a closure below like 2,300, no longer is that structure in place. And I'd really be looking for this one to accelerate to the downside. I'm talking about down to like 1550-ish region, maybe even longer than that, maybe even lower than that over time. But for right now, I'd actually give it the benefit of the doubt. It's actually not bad right here. I don't really think it's bad at all actually on the medium and shorter term time frame, or well, very short term time frames. Yeah, it probably does have a little bit of downside, but I actually would give it the benefit of the doubt. Now, what time frames were you giving me? Oh, daily and weekly. Okay, so daily, yep, still holds that, and weekly, same thing. So I'd actually play the formation here until told otherwise. But do we have hidden bullish evidence potentially populating here too? Yeah, we would. So if this confirms a higher low right here, which it has not done just yet, and it will actually not do this week, the earliest that I can do it is next week. And how would you know that? You'd want to see pretty much a closure above the 10 simple in this case, make it nice and easy, or wherever the high is of this week thus far, which is 3136 region. If that can happen, yeah, I'd be looking at this as essentially a reaccumulation, and very likely to retest the highs, and probably even realistically likely to break those highs long term. I mean, this is actually a decent chart for an altcoin here, especially as we do see a long-term uptrend. So does deserve some respect. But again, below this region right here, be very quick to switch around, because this one will fucking absolutely shatter the floor. I imagine if that were to happen. Josh is at it again, my fucking man. G Deezer says, can you please check out Telcoin on the 4-hour versus Bitcoin? Okay, symbol. I remember this one was actually looking pretty damn good too last time we looked at it. So Telcoin, Bitcoin, I believe is what you wanted to look at. Yeah, it is. Yeah, again, one of the best charts in crypto, at least for like the last few days or the last few weeks, consolidating at a very high level right here. I mean, this is, I typically want to shit on altcoins, but I cannot shit on this one at all. In fact, this is actually looking pretty damn good. Now, short term, does it come back down and base around like 8100-ish region? Probably yes, but ultimately, there's nothing bearish about this thing as long as it's above this higher low right, or this low structure right here at about, let's just call it 7,000 Satoshis. Starts to come back down there. Yeah, there's your bigger warning signal. And if you break that area, probably does go for a nice retrace all the way down to 3,600. But give it, I think you give it the respect for right now. Even the 4-hour is actually based out at a pretty damn high level here too. So I actually would give this one respect. Probably does come down a little bit here, maybe to 8,000. But overall, I actually like it for right now. To be quite honest with you, I actually do think that it's decent enough right there. Michael Kirk says, hey, Krown, check out AMC. Sure, man. Everyone loves AMC nowadays. Is this the new Wall Street's bet bullshit? It must be, man. It must be. Yeah, looking pretty damn good. I think that we were bullish on this one coming into the last few weeks. Nice ascending triangle at a high level right there, and getting resolution right now. Now, have we hit our target? Or I guess I didn't give targets on this one. I feel like I did, but maybe TradingView fucked me on it. The good news is I still think it has a little bit higher to go here. Probably $35.50. It's gonna be your next major area of interest. Kind of hitting the more preliminary one right here already, about 31.75. But ultimately, this is a pretty damn good move. I remember looking at this one recently and liking it. Monthly is a clear and obvious reversal as well. Yeah, you have to respect this right here. So I would be looking at a retest of these regions right here. Probably does back off after the first retest, and maybe even come all the way down to like $22. But long term, I'd give it some respect. This is pretty damn good on the monthly here. This is suggesting more long term up actually. Probably even breaks these highs if I had to guess. It looks good, to put it bluntly. Pablo South, bonjour, mon ami. What's up, man? Can you look at New Core hourly daily? I think it's symbol NEW, N-U-E. Is that right? It is. It is. I got it. All right. On New York Stock Exchange. Okay, sweet. We got real stocks once again. Again, another very, very good chart right here. Monthly breaking out. But what time frame were you looking at, sir? Oh, hourly and daily. All right, we'll go down to the daily for now. Yeah, I remember looking at this one as well. Okay, I do think it is basing off a little bit right here. Maybe comes down to like $97 again. But ultimately, this one has more upside over the long period of time. But that's not what you're asking about. Short term, you do see a pretty obvious structure going on right here as well, right? You got something like this going on. I'd give it a chance short term to come down to like $100. Could it drop out that low and maybe move its way down to like mid 90s? Perhaps yes, but ultimately there's nothing bearish about a chart like this in my opinion, as long as it's above the breakout point long term, which I feel like I should say, because that is this is pretty damn good of a consolidation over the last 12 years or so. Yeah, going back to May 08. So having a 12-year long consolidation is very likely not to just result in 1 month of a breakout. I think that this one continues onwards and forwards long term. In fact, we can come up with a preliminary target here too for the long term. And this is going to take some time, I imagine, but probably somewhere around like 140-ish region or so, maybe even more over time too, as those can get more continuation phases, of course. Josh says, when I see Vet daily buy signal, I'll be back in. Oh, there he is. All right, let's actually check out Vet over here. This is the fucking Vet master, by the way. This guy Josh. Maybe I shouldn't dox you. I don't know if I'm doxing you by saying this. I just want to give you respect, man. Getting rich as all hell off of fucking Vet. this piece of highly esteemed technology over here. Yeah, I would say that this is not a buy signal right now. In fact, you got that 21 and 55 cross on the downside. I think this one comes down alongside Bitcoin, probably like 9.25, maybe even all the way down to the 200 again. But I would be looking for bounce betwixt those two. Looking at the weekly, yeah, weekly looks a lot more under pressure to me too, man. I mean, fucking hell, man. Like, you literally traded this one about as perfect as you can do. Like, I don't trade that well. I don't fucking trade that well. Josh basically bought, like, at the lows over here and sold over here. It's like, holy shit. And this doesn't look like that crazy on log scale, but let me tell you, this is a almost 11,000% gainer. Fucking ridiculous, man. Fucking ridiculous. Scott Carney. Oh, he's back. He's back, and he knows now. It was full moon yesterday. When moon? I think it was a blood moon, actually. So if my astrology serves me correctly, we must get our tampons ready for Bitcoin to drop it out here. Another lower high. That is a good question, though. When moon? I don't know. Elsa, when moon? Could you tell me? Could you let the people? She says never. You hate Bitcoin? Is that what you said? Elsa hates Bitcoin. Elsa despises Bitcoin. She hopes that everyone gets poor as fuck holding this. That's disgusting. Oh, and yeah. And yesterday you were laughing about kids getting fucked by Michael Jackson. So disgusting. Absolutely filthy. Sebastian Gwynn says, hello, sir. Hey, what's up, man? Congrats on 69. Best stream. Hey, man, I really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. Oh, fuck. I can barely see 2069. Okay, so it moons in 2069. Okay, so we only got about 50 more years to go, fellas, until we can start eating steaks again. Is that BCRX? I actually can't see it because of the way that Elsa took a picture, so I'll blame her. I see Caretaker, though. I see Caretaker in the chats right now. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can just find exactly where a good friend is here. Oh, I see Nate. What's up, Nate? All right, let's see. Pop it back up here. Where the fuck is Sebastian? Hold on. Ah, shit, it looks like YouTube did lose it. I'm going to guess, Sebastian, if you're still here with me. Oh, no, I see you right there. Okay, it is BCRX. Okay, BCRX. What the hell is this thing? Oh, man, you love the biotechs, don't you? You fucking love them. Well, this is a good one to love, to be fair. I mean, this is a pretty damn good uptrend right here. And continuation, I mean, this one's implying continuation as we literally just had a breakout, so... I like it, man. I like it. I actually like it quite a fair bit. Let's look at the long term here. Oh, very good, Sebastian. Very fucking good, man. Very fucking good. Okay. So we are yet again at the multi-generational highs here. This goes all the way back to like 2000. So this is a 20-year long consolidation. Question is this one actually ready to break this area and really go on what I imagine is going to be a pretty impressive run for a long-term time with targets up to about 22.25, but that's not going to be your ultimate target. I mean, long-term is going to be like 33 probably plus. We do see a change of behavior from the volume signature over here. This was April 2020, and we do get continuation over here. Weekly golden cross, which we really haven't had like a good example of before. Yes, there was one right here, but that one obviously was a little bit too, yeah, that one wasn't as interesting. Hidden bullish divergence right at the highs. This actually could be the moment where it actually does break it. I mean, again, I'm going mostly off the volume signature down to here. That is a change of behavior long term by definition. Monthly is looking good. I'd give it a chance, man. I actually think that this one probably will push through here. All things considered, monthly target's going to be up to like $22, probably a little bit of a short-term pullback there, and then long-term, maybe the next year or two. I don't know how long a month is realistically going to take, but 34 and maybe even new highs. I mean, this one does technically have, a series of higher lows here on the monthly. So, have to be looking at this accumulation. Now, the problem with that is that could it go through another drive down? It could. It very well could. So I'd actually give it the benefit of the doubt right here. I think this is a pretty damn good setup. I'd want to see a monthly golden cross next, which, to be quite honest with you, I very rarely even see those in motion. So pretty damn cool stuff right there. Monthly RSI good, monthly TSI good. Volatility also ticking up here too. I want to see everything kind of get to extremes, but I think it probably does pull through. Actually, it looks pretty fucking good, man. Jesus Christ, you're gonna be. Have you been waiting 20 years for that one? Well, whatever it has been, man. It seems like it probably is worth the wait. Not bad. Michael R says, with all the biased content on YouTube, Twitter, and others, it's so nice to have you giving actual TA without any spin. Much appreciated. Yeah, man. The difference between my channel and I think a lot of other channels channels, and this is not to, you know, throw shade at any other channels. Actually, I know a lot of these guys, and I like them a lot too. Like, I consider them friends. But the thing is that, you know, I make my money mostly through trading. Yes, I have my programs. Yes, I have YouTube ad revenue now. Yes, you know, yes, we have the streams, which is nice. It definitely helps pad things out. No doubt about that. I'm not going to, you know, sound unappreciative for that, of course. But at the end of the day, man, you know, I was a trader first, YouTuber second, whereas a lot of these guys, and again, this is not like a knock on them. This is just the truth. A lot of them are marketers, and, you know, fair enough. I mean, they're actually doing a big service for this space if you are like a cryptocurrency fan, because they are essentially raising up the awareness of it. I mean, shit, man, fucking BitBoy has over 1 million subscribers. So he's actually bringing, because his setup is so professional, like, this guy really has something like amazing going on, actually, because I've actually spoken with this team a little bit, and like, apparently they just have they basically have like a fucking full on high production media that you'd expect from like a CNBC, for example. Not saying that, you know, it's like the same thing, but like, it's of that same sort of cut, and that's what's going to draw in the average person to the space, increase the awareness. Then people start, you know, going down the rabbit hole, and I think that that's overall a good thing. So it actually does serve you quite well. But that's just the difference between, you know, a lot of the channels here. Like Ivan on Tech, same thing. You know, he's got, I don't know, he's probably got like 500,000 now too. Like, crazy shit, man, fucking crazy shit. You know, even the guys who you might really dislike with, you know, some of the more interesting predictions, and then also thumbnails, perhaps we'll say. You know, I can actually assure you that for the ones that I have met, they're actually pretty damn good guys. So it is, and I'm actually very happy for their success too. I know a lot of those guys were actually considering, or at least under a lot of pressure in 2018, 2019, and they pulled through, and now they're doing pretty damn well, and I'm actually extremely happy for them. Krown says, Ethereum downside targets, show us those sweet fibs, sir. Well, the problem with the fibs for the downside isn't going to be too relevant here. What we can actually just go off of market structure here, because we have plenty of. Now, to be fair, if Ethereum does close above the 10 simple at the end of this week, I actually would look at that as kind of a good signal coming into the next week, or at least middle of June, most likely. It's not necessarily going to be bearish, close above all major move now, just why they do have a positive slope. But let's go down to the daily, and let's talk about what happens if and when Bitcoin does break down, which I think Ethereum's kind of doing right now too. First sort of area of potential base would be just under 2,500, somewhere around 2,450, we'll call it right here. I don't think that things would stop there, to be honest with you. I think that Ethereum would probably try to test around its current daily closing low, which is about 2150 to 2200ish region. I don't necessarily have like full on targets for Ethereum. Again, I even think that this thing could come all the way down to the 200 exponential average. So I know that I'm just throwing out a shit ton of targets here, but who knows where the fuck this thing wants to base off of if Bitcoin comes down to like 32 or 33. I don't know how low Bitcoin's going to come here. I just think that it will come lower, somewhere around its current lows, which could be, you know, 35. It could be 34. It could be 33. Could be 32. So that's going to account for major differences on something like this. But I don't think it's going to stop right here, to be honest with you, like 2400 or 2450ish region. If Bitcoin really breaks down, you're probably looking somewhere around here would be like my bet. 2150ish region. If things get really, really aggressive, I'd probably be looking somewhere around like 1900ish region, somewhere in this pocket right here. Now, by contrast, on the weekly, let's say we do close below the 21 at the end of this week at just below 2100. I would actually have major targets to the downside coming into June, somewhere around about 14 to 1300ish region. Now, that would very likely be in line with Bitcoin actually dropping out its current low structure. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen just yet, or at least if it does happen, I would like to see it in real time. I want to give the other side a chance first, because I do think that we're seeing, a lot of decent signs for professional accumulation in this region. Okay, let me get back into the comments over here. Holy fucking moly, man! This one is actually screaming today. This is insane. a lot of shitcoin chillers here today too. This is rather strange, man. I'm just curious, like, if that actually works. I think it just pisses people off, though, to be honest with you. Okay, all right, we'll get to the bottom of these comments then. Hey, what's up, Crypto Signals? Hey man, appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Okay, let me just make sure I'm good on time. We're about an hour into this. I think I got a little bit less than another hour, like 40 minutes or so. And we can continue here. We already looked at XLM. We can look at XRP though. Yeah, we can definitely look at XRP. I think that's going to be relevant to a lot of people. Back below $1 here. Definitely not looking like a picture of health and fitness on the weekly. Daily. daily, I'd be looking for this one to come back down again in line with Bitcoin breaking to the downside, somewhere around about 80 cents region, and try for another low there. 21 and 55 crossing the downside right here. Yeah, I'm going to be angled towards the downside. I think the 12-hour probably already has. Taking out the yesterday's low, we got 93.36 versus 92.80. So yep, yes indeed we do. That means that hidden bearish evidence is. Actually, we don't even have it on a 12-hour because this isn't considered a high right there. We'd probably have to go down to a 6-hour, and then yes, we certainly do have it right here. It's curling over, man. A lot of these rallies are rolling over right now. This and if you want like another like easy rule, or maybe not easy rule, but like just easy thing to kind of be looking for. Whenever you see this rounding off sort of price action right here, you know, you see it right here. You saw it kind of on the highs for Bitcoin as well. Those are usually going to be periods of distribution. I call it like the rolling hills of distribution. I mean, it's usually not very good. You know, the old rolling, the old rollover. So fair enough. Just pray that fucking Bitcoin tries to put in a bit of a higher low, and maybe it saves the rest of the market. But for right now, things are rolling over, and I do think that short term is going to be down. We can look at let's look at Matic. What the fuck is Matic doing right now after its very impressive recovery? Let's see how this one's coming along. So yeah, tested around the prior highs of the of that past rally. Now coming back down. This one again does make me believe that if and when Bitcoin does turn around, this one's going to be a fucking big winner. Can this one come down all the way to the 21? Yeah, absolutely. 155 is certainly not out of the question right here. In fact, I'd say that this one would be a pretty damn obvious area right around about 127.5 if Bitcoin really gets going. But ultimately, long term, there's nothing at all fucking bearish about this chart right here, at least in the way that I look at things. If this weekly closes anywhere above 168, which means that we could come down in the interim and then bounce back above there before weekly close on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, I'd be looking for this one to print new all-time highs into June. This is really, really fucking good as it is. Still want to see a few more days here, yes, but so far so good, I'd say. Definitely holding up relatively well. Pablo South says, Kathy Woods going to Mars, Roblox hourly daily, please. Is she going to Mars, or is she hiding under her bed right now? Whoopsies. I imagine she's maybe not having the best time right now. Hey, she's actually looking pretty good right here, though, I'd say. Yeah, very good. Very, very good. Very fucking good, actually. Very fucking good. Now, I probably would have been, I don't know what I would have been on this one the other day. If I saw this, I probably would have been looking for some short-term downside, which we did get, but very good buyback right there. Yeah, this one's going to be heading north of $100. You see one of those nice accumulation phases down here as well. And let's see, I already have some targets laid out right here. So it looks like we're going to be hitting the $100 target. That's not a big one for this one, actually. The big ones are going to be like 105 to 110 region. That's where I do think you might put in, a daily top or such. But for right now, looking pretty good. Looking pretty damn good. Daily RSI very healthy there as well. I have a feeling Matic is going to make me so much money, says Von Go. Perhaps it will. Perhaps it will. I mean, that chart is head and shoulders one of the best one of the best charts in this land. I'm actually curious to see what Hex is doing today. I know that people just absolutely fucking hate this monstrosity, but as far as charts go, man, it really has been speaking rather interestingly over the past couple weeks here. So I'm curious to see what it's doing today. Holy fuck, it's looking like a Matic actually. Holy shit. Yeah. Nothing bearish about that right there. Nothing fucking bearish about that. Holy shit, man. Holy shit. Short term, yeah, probably comes down. Maybe 5 cents again. Hey, what's up, Nate? There he is. Oh, sorry, man. I apologize on that one. Hey, god damn it, Elsa. She's not getting them properly. I blame Elsa. Let me see. Did she actually get you? Actually, I don't think she did, actually. All right, well... Sorry about that, man. Yeah, no, it's all good. Nate is extremely normal, extremely chill, so he's not gonna get mad. Let's see. Can I have 2 requests on? Yeah, man, of course. Boxel on weekly and Fortum. Okay. Boxel. All right. BOXL. Let's see what this thing is. Boxlight Corporation. All right. Okay. Looking good on the daily. But what time frame are you looking at? Okay, you're looking at a weekly. And again, apologies about that, man. You know it's not intentional, man. Let's see. I'd be looking for a weekly to pop back up to $3, probably even beyond. This is a clear weekly reversal. We have plenty of drives of hidden bullish evidence over here. Weekly TSI is well within the bullish buy zone and looking like it could curl around again. If that starts to get going, I'd be looking for new highs on that rally. But at least for right now, I'd be looking for a weekly to trade back up to north of $3. This is the big area to be aware of right here at about 360-ish region. And as long as you're holding these higher lows right here, I really, really like it, actually. Long-term targets above this region could be, could be like 6.25, maybe even more. What about Fortum? Okay, Fortum on the monthly. Okay, all right, Fortum Corporation. Oh, this is trades in Helsinki. What the fuck? Are we looking at the right thing? Hold on. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, we are. I mean, this seems like it'd be the right thing. All right, trades in Finland, I guess. So what do you know about that? I don't know shit about that. Looking good right here. Looking very good right here. Man, you have a knack for just picking out these extremely long form accumulation stocks and even cryptos too, or at least as long as you can get for the cryptos. Something like this on the bottom here too. I like this. This is obvious reaccumulation after this first sort of major rally from 2000 all the way to 08. Now, is it ready to break here is the real question, which I think is probably what you're getting at. I think it is destined to break, but is it ready right now? Let's see what the weekly looks like. Weekly is a good setup for an actual break. I think it's definitely going to try. Hidden bullish divergence around this side of the edge, around this side of the bullish control zone typically is, what I look for on an actual breakout try. Weekly TSI looks like it wants to twist back up again as well. It's pretty, it's pretty aggressive right there, yes. But we haven't even seen volatility start to tick up on the weekly just yet. So I imagine if you see weekly volatility, BBWP, start to get a positive slope once again alongside a test around this region, assuming all of the momentum oscillators hold true, which I think that they are, I'd actually look for the real breakout. And at that point, where you're going to be looking towards on a monthly schedule, I mean, you're pretty much going to be looking towards this area of interest, but I don't think that things stop there. That's about just under $28. All right, so yeah, it's just under $28, and then realistically your prior highs. And I mean, this thing's gone through about 12 years of consolidation. Do I think that it's not going to try for a new all-time high after that? I do think it would, but it's going to take a long time, man. I mean, this is a monthly after all. Let's see what a quarterly looks like. I'm just curious. Bitcoin right around 37. Bad Bitcoin. You're being a very bad boy today. Yeah, hidden bullish evidence on that last low, but that easy portion of that move's already played out. This does look very good though. Quarterly TSI turning back up freshly. Even the quarterly jewel is like kind of in a continuation posture, but really not a whole hell of a lot of history there. Let's see what the monthly looks like. Yeah, it's more in a bullish posturing as well. I think it's likely. I think it's definitely going to give a try. Does it actually do it this time? I think so. Yeah, I actually do think so. I mean, you do see a bit of a change of behavior down here too on this last major drive down. So fair enough. I'd give it the benefit of the doubt there and say, yeah, it probably does. Daily coming down. Don't scoot your little bunghole down, you little red dildo, you. Did we take out yesterday's low already? Oh, we definitely did by about $300. What about this low right here? It's 36,486. Getting closer, getting very close. But overall, I think that it is. I think that it is happening. Blacktooth says pulse chain. Is that a thing? Pulse chain. Pulse. Nope, it's not a thing, sir. Unfortunately, I cannot look at things that are phantoms of the mind. I can only look at things that exist in reality. Let's see. Oh, where's Mr. Plums? Hold on, I see Mr. Plums over there. Where the fuck is Mr. Plums? Mark B? There he is. He's got his plums ready. My plums are ready too, man. My plums are ready for a bit of picking at the bank coming up here. Man, it's like they want to like peer into my soul and know exactly where everything comes from. It's like so crazy. They're so they're so fucking harsh on foreigners in this country, or I guess probably in Nordic countries in general. Anyways, okay, let's see. I think I see a good question right here. Braden Estes says, "Hey Krown, is there any indicators you find useful when looking at Bitcoin dominance, or do you look at it level by level?" I don't even look at it level by level. I look at it on trend, and no, I don't think that indicators really work on something like this. I mean, you have to remember that Bitcoin dominance is it's a pretty incomplete metric on its own anyways, because first off, it does not imply US dollar direction, although you don't necessarily need that for it. But the big thing with Bitcoin dominance that I think makes it very difficult to be super reliant on is simply the fact that someone can create a new cryptocurrency like that, a snap of a Nicholas Martin's fingers in just 1 second. And technically speaking, Bitcoin dominance would go down because, well, you have more coins within this market. And even if Bitcoin didn't even move at all, its dominance would go down. So it's prone to a lot of fuckery is what I'm trying to say. But ultimately, I'm looking at trend right here. So where's your last high? Right here at 70%. Where's your current low? 41%, although this is not necessarily a full-on low. Could you use levels here? I think that you kind of can, although I wouldn't be super reliant on. I mean, you do see that, these pivots right here are certainly working. I guess, well, they all do work. So all right, yeah, levels work. All right, fair enough. Levels and trend is what I'd look for on that one. Mr. Fi says, Zer, TA program flash crash for Memorial Derp. Yeah, we will have a 20% off sale starting tonight at midnight and running through the holiday itself. So yeah, man, just hold off and save yourself a few bucks there. If you are the type of person to get into it to begin with. So I always have to go through my spiel. It's like, look, most people, you don't fucking need this. You just, watch a few free videos and that's probably good enough for you. Most people don't want to go through fucking 40 to 50 hours of like concerted effort, especially if you have like, a life outside of this. Like it's really meant for people who have you have a shit ton of time. It's going to take a lot of time, and it's not going to be a magic pill either, man. It's going to take, now that it's been around for, I guess, going on 3, maybe 4 years, I can say on average for the people who are going to be successful with it, which is actually, probably less than 50% if I had to guess. For the people who are going to be successful, they take about a year to a year and a half. Some people have taken a little bit longer and they do get there, but I'd say on average, probably about a year to a year and a half. Josh says Ethereum Bitcoin holding up nicely. All right, let's check them out. All right. 0.07. Yeah, I would agree. I do think it has some downside here. I think it will try for another base at like low 6 million Satoshis, but long term, I'm not bearish on something like this, man, at all. As long as the weekly closes above like 6.3 million Satoshis, I'd actually be looking for this one to try for some more upside. In the next couple months to come. This is still pretty damn good. Monthly is not bearish in any way, shape, or form. Yes, it can have some downside, as I said, but there's nothing bearish about this chart by any stretch of the imagination, at least in my opinion. Monthly tells the story right here. I mean, just with this chart alone, yes, it probably does have a pullback into June. Okay, that's fine. But anywhere around the edge of the bullish control zone, I'd be looking for, macro bounces. And I do strongly believe this one's going to get up, above, probably even make new all-time highs, if I had to guess. But at least above 0.11. I mean, this is a very good chart right here, at least for the monthly and weekly, all things considered. I'm curious what a bi-monthly would look like if we can populate one and make it relevant. Because this one is actually not closing at the end of this month, so maybe not as relevant. But yeah, overall, I still do like it. Again, this is the real chart right here. Pretty damn good for the time being. Long term, I really, really like it. Short term, you're going to have your oscillations, obviously. Oh, wow, okay. Mr. Burnt Krem. Mr. Krem, have you missed making a video since 2018? Not a single day, man. I think I have, I definitely have OCD, and then I also have... I don't know, man. Like once I get into the groove of something, I just, I can't not do it. If I don't do these videos, man, it's like not brushing my teeth. I don't feel like my day's complete. It's for better or worse, but that's kind of the consistency that I have to have in things. Like, that's what I essentially learned from like consistency within the gym, for example, in nutrition, when I was trying to dial that in my early 20s, learning that. And then I could actually apply that to the several other things that I tried to learn as well, trading being one of them, because you need to be consistent with it and then making these videos for YouTube. I mean, got to be consistent with it as well. Otherwise, you kind of, you start to kind of fall off, obviously. Anyways, thoughts on Link ranging from 34 to 27 on the daily. Let's check it out. Let's see how Link's holding up here. Okay, so basically you're saying the range is between 34. So basically your highs right here. Yeah, 34, 35. Yep. And to the downside, about 27. No, I think you could have more downside than that, actually. You got your 200 simple coming in right around about $25. I probably would be looking for a bounce anywhere between there and the 200. That's about 27 to 25 region. However, if Bitcoin does come down around its current lows, I'd be looking for this one to try for another base somewhere around like probably 22, maybe even all the way down to 20 even. But I don't think that this one's long-term bearish, to be honest with you. I mean, that was a pretty damn good move to the upside. Yes, it has been rejected thus far. And yes, it is under pressure long-term, but I'd give it a chance. I'd definitely give it a chance. This one does deserve respect. Now, here's my fear, though. I'm going to fear that we actually did get a bull trap move here. Let's see. No, bull trap move would have been $40, but this one's kind of nasty nonetheless. I wouldn't be excited. Just like Bitcoin under, I think it was like $42,000 or 43, whatever it was that we spoke about earlier. I wouldn't be excited for like any sort of, prolonged upside moves. I wouldn't be excited for this one as long as it's below about $34 as well. So, I'd give it a chance to consolidate within this region right here. Anything within this region is okay long-term. Below, especially, what is this, like $20? Yeah, daily closure below $20, you got big problems at that point. But, to be fair to Link, it's never even really had a weekly downtrend. Although it could be happening, now, and then you got to get ready for moves to like $9 or $10. But again, I give it a chance first, man. And Bitcoin's just easier for direction right now too. Okay, Cole Evans says, hi, Krown. What's up, Cole? Can you take a stab at how far down Cardano will go if it follows Bitcoin? Okay, ADA USD, another one of the very highly esteemed shitcoins in this market. And again, operating above all major moving averages on a weekly, obviously. But if Bitcoin comes down, where do I expect this one to base? Somewhere around about 135 region. Somewhere around about 135 is where I'd be looking towards. You do have the 55 right here too at about 149. I don't think that that's going to be an actual, an actual low structure right there. I mean, looking at the 4, man, this thing wants to come down. Maybe a short-term bounce right there. Could very easily short-term bounce there. But I think within the context of your question, you're not concerned about that. You're concerned about like where does it come if Bitcoin really breaks down. And I'd be looking somewhere down around here about 135 region, 134 is where I'd be looking towards. All right, sweet. Osmonet, what's up, Osmonet? Hold on, I just missed you. Polycat fit. Oh, you motherfucker. All right, how did I get? Yeah, okay, yeah, it's on CoinDerpo. All right, we'll look at CoinDerpo over here. Let me just pop this one back in. Okay, and what is it? Fish in CoinGecko. All right, fish. Polycat Finance. Sir, I think based off the name, what the fuck? 30%. Okay, this thing's barely even been around. It's been around for 3 months. It does not have a year. Okay, it's been around for like a month. It's been around for like a month actually. Okay, so this is your real chart. It's actually good, but look, this is I would not stand by anything on something like this, man. I imagine it's got to be such a low volume. Okay, yeah, 6,000 in 24-hour volume. Okay, that's really healthy. That's really good. Oh my fucking god, man. Yeah, no one's trading this thing, but to be fair, it is an uptrend and it has about a month long of history. So take it as you will. It actually has been pretty contra to Bitcoin here. I'll leave it at that. But goddamn, where the fuck do you find these things, man? You just like go to the end of CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap and be like, what's the lowest market cap coin I can find that's pumping right now? Jimmy Brand, what's up, man? Hey, Krown, it's your boy Jimmy. It's your boy Krown. Can you check out EFX? Seems like a heinous debacle. If you do, in fact, ask me. All right. In a heinous, we have very serious critical situation going on here. Let's see what's Equifax. Okay. This name sounds familiar. Don't think I've ever traded myself, but it does have a very critical situation going on, man. It's got a nice uptrend. That's what it has going on here. Let's see what the monthly looks like coming into the end. This is the last trading day, by the way, for traditional markets in May, of course. I actually like it long term, man. Hidden bullish divergence off that last low. That's certainly already played out, but TSI still continuing on here. Monthly Jewel it's getting closer, but it's with all those having positive slope, it's not going to stop this next month. I think this one continues on the monthly here. But it depends what time frame you look at. So if I'm looking at the daily, this one's just stair stepping its way up right now. This is professional gap on like a legitimate breakout. That's a good sign. I don't think it's coming down to there to test it anytime soon. In fact, I'd be looking for any sort of short-term downside to probably base somewhere around the current low of this area right here, like 215. Long-term, I think that this one has more upside. It's even getting hidden bullish divergence like right now on the daily. So I'd actually be looking for this one to pop back to the highs of this rally and probably continue on. This one looks good. I'd say that it looks very good. A heinous debacle. Heinous debacle. I like it, man. I like it. Whatever the hell this thing is. Nimbo's here too. Bear Jesus is your friend. He is your friend. Just let him be. Let him bring his little honeypot into this bitch. And it's now Bear Jesus' swamp. I call. I showed Elsa Shrek is love, Shrek is life, and whenever I try to put the moves on her, I tell her that this is my swamp now. She really likes that. It really turns her on. And then I call my piece a worm. Say, your swamp, my worm. 5 minutes, baby. It's going down. I'm in, baby. Anyways, Michael says MMED Neo. What is this? MMED. Okay, this thing. Mind medicine. All right. Oh, okay. That's the exchange. Okay, got it. All right, sweet one. Sweet one. Okay, cool. Let's see. Looking okay at a high level here. It's I think it's just going to go through a little bit more of a consolidation in this range, but ultimately I actually do respect it. I do like it for for the long term. But let's see. This guy is a millionaire and he looks like he crawled out of a garbage bin. Is it the hair? Come on, man, be nice. Looking at the weekly right here, yeah, I actually do like it. I think it will pop back up to 550 and probably break out long term, but this is going to probably consolidate for a while longer. It's just going sideways right here. I don't think that you're looking at anything too exciting right now, man. Yeah, this, and how long it's been going on for? Almost a year now, going back to December 2020. I'd give it some more time, but ultimately this does look decent long term. No real reason to be looking bearish on this one as long as it's above about 275 region. If that were to happen, I'd be targeting moves down to like 140, but I don't think that's what's happening here. I think that this one's actually long-term good. Monthly is actually looking pretty damn good here too, man. Actually looking pretty damn good here too. Got the backfill in last month open. I'd probably be looking for this one to try some upside. You know, maybe test the top side of the range in June. I'm not necessarily saying that's going to break out to the upside, but I think it probably tests it in June. But keep an eye on it, man. It's still pretty damn young right there, man. Still pretty damn young. Jaw says, hi, good morning. Good morning to you, man. Hope you're doing well. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Been here since early 2019. My fucking man. Can you please take a look at historical Bitcoin trend lines? The problem with historical Bitcoin trend lines right now is that they're nowhere near where Bitcoin is. And to be honest with you, I don't really think that they mean all that much. Because, you know, if I give you a historical trend line, it's going to turn you into one of those fucking Twitter moon boys who are just like, okay, so Bitcoin is, you know, is like doing this fucking log scale thing. Hold on, let me just bring it up because everyone always brings up this thing and be like, this is the reason why Bitcoin's going to 250,000. It's like, really? That's it? That's all that it is? All right, let's see. Let's take off the pi cycle right here. Let's put on, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're looking at something like this. You know, does it matter? I mean, it works out, technically speaking, yeah. You know, something like this, but is it like that actionable right now? I don't really think so, honestly. I don't really think so. Let's bring this back in a little bit. You know, maybe you can make some out of this or not, but I personally don't really look at this as too actionable as a trader. I mean, the zones do tend to work out more than they don't, to be fair. You know, in the green zone, that's your accumulations over the years, you know, would have been phenomenal buys. But then again, anything would have been a phenomenal buy just before the last like couple months here, to be fair, to give it its due merit, right? But looking at this right here, you know, technically speaking, it would be saying like the highs could be just above $100,000. I think that's a little more reasonable, to be fair. But you know, how do you judge this right here? I mean, it's in the yellow zone. So do you look at this as like a base and off point? I mean, it actually does kind of make sense because I'm basically saying $32,000 for Bitcoin on a weekly closure. That is where things start to fall apart again. And perhaps that's the right way to be looking at this one too. So yeah, I guess so. I guess so. You know, it actually does seem to hold a little bit of merit right there. So fair enough. I don't think it's like the best way to be looking at things, but it seems like it's good enough there. Actually looks good, says Von Go. Yeah, it's actually a little bit surprised to me too. So I have to kind of eat my words there a little bit. So you're saying the hypo wave is still on? Oh, the hyperwave, the hyper. I don't know, man. I think that idea got killed in 2019 when Bitcoin came down to like $3,000 after or no, what was the hyperwave target? It's like 1,000 or something, or 18 or 1,100, whatever the fuck it was, man. It didn't get hit, so I don't know, man. I'm not a you know, I know that was like kind of a joke comment, but I never really learned the hyperwave theory, and you know, no offense, but I don't really care to as well. Not for me, man. Not my edge. Not something that not something that I'm too concerned with. You know, could it be real? Well, you know, who's to fucking say? But it seems like the last few ones did not work out. But then again, R.I.P. Tyler Jenks. I actually did a video too with him. He's a really nice guy, really fucking good guy. Just you know, as far as that theory goes, I haven't really seen it myself, and you know, it looks a little bit more like Elliott Wave to me, which I'm not a humongous fan of. I just don't really see that working out over a long period of time. Okay, I still troll Tone Vase. I say Hyperwave. Oh dear lord, is Tone Vase still doing his thing? I actually haven't caught up with him in a long time now. Hyperwave is still playing out. No Krown 86. Oh, so 8600 is the target now for Hyperwave. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm no expert with it. I won't claim to be. I just don't really spend my time. I haven't really spent my time learning it like at all. So I'm not the person to ask. Bitcoin gonna dump massive. I can bet anyone, says Rubal Rand Hawa. Well, actually, the beautiful thing about these markets is you don't need to bet anyone in this chat here. You can literally just go onto exchange, put in your short, and then the exchange will pay you. You will actually get paid. You don't even have to fucking give your opinion on it. It's crazy, I know, but you can actually do that. You can actually do that. It's like, I'll bet you this. Why not just put on the fucking trade? Why not just put on the fucking trade, man? They want your Bitcoins at 8,600. Maybe those mean institutions are coming for your cones. It's possible. That's where, well, that would actually be below all my major moving average. I don't know, man. If Bitcoin came back down below like 10,000 bucks, I think the orange coin is probably dead at that point, in my opinion. All right, sweet one. Let's see. Trios. A lot of people liking Trios. All right, we can check that one out too. Let me just take care of time here. I think I got another like 20. Okay, we got another like 20 or so minutes, so I can stay on for a bit longer. Trios, not a whole hell of a lot of history for a weekly. Daily probably comes down to like 670-ish region. Doesn't really stand out as like a great chart or a terrible chart, just kind of par for the course with the small amount of history that we do have. Here's a 4 hour. Looks good long term on a 4 hour, but short term, yeah, it probably comes back down. I'd be looking somewhere maybe around like 660 or so. Hey, what's up, fucking buy the dip? Hey man, my pleasure, sir. Says Stinky. Yeah, man. Oh, there he is, Derek. What's up, Derek? Good to see you, Mr. Derek M. Yeah, man, we could look at, do you want to look at Stinky Linky? We can look at versus Bitcoin. We already looked at versus US dollar in it. Don't really have any new things to say about it there, but we can certainly look at it versus the old cone here. Yeah, it probably wants a little bit of downside here. Short term, maybe 76,500-ish region. I don't hate it long term, but I think that this one can easily base out even lower than that at like 68,500, and that's going to be a long term opportunity. I actually like this chart right here. Still like the higher lows on the weekly for now. Oh, there he is, Mr. Bitcoin Beats. Guys, check out Bitcoin Beats on YouTube. Hey, Sirski. Hello, Sir Broski. Does that make sense? It doesn't. I find with the log curves, they work, and I trust them until they stop working. That's pretty much that's pretty much the explanation of most things. It's like, look, you can use anything. It's just you need to know when that sort of thesis falls apart. So I'd actually pretty much agree with you in that case. It's like, can they work out? Yeah, I mean, it'd actually be pretty much in line with what I'm saying anyways as far as structure goes. It's very interesting to see that it works out there. But it's like, how do you trade it? It's like, okay, we left the yellow zone, so now we must test the red zone. It's like, well, no, that didn't necessarily work out, although it did work out over here, although it did work out over here, although it did not work out over, well, yeah, it didn't work out over there as well. Go to BLX and see if they have better data here. Hey, fucking goddamn. Here we go. So this one actually did. Leaves a yellow, gets in there. Interesting, yes, but it didn't necessarily work out too well over here thus far. This is also why I do think I think that this sort of segment right here is a lot similar to 2013 failed, well, it wasn't necessarily a failed rally, I mean, it's fucking phenomenal rally, but more importantly, it was kind of like a mini bear market, if you will. Technically speaking, not even a bear market, as we didn't really get a weekly downturn right there, but ultimately plays within the yellow zone on the bottom side of it, even cracks down below it for a second there too, which maybe we even see here, which we definitely, well, we did see last week to be fair, and then over the next few months reaccumulates and then gives like the girthy green powerful move to the upside. I think that's definitely possible, yes, but as you see over here, even after it dumped down below this region, that was July 2013, and it really didn't get going until October 2013. So July, August, September, October, 4, maybe even 5 months to actually start to retest those highs and then make new highs after that. So, could that be something to go off of? I think it's an interesting thing to be looking at. It would still kind of keep your Bula-ish hopes alive, but yeah, I mean, interesting enough, I suppose. Definitely wouldn't be my first source of edge, but I think it does kind of play with a lot of the other things that I'm looking at rather nicely. Okay. Panors, what's up, man? At what point would you change your mind and think this could be more a 2018 than 2013? So basically the question is, at what point would I change my mind and basically be like macro bearish? Well, I mean, taking out this last low right here on a weekly would very likely do it for me, man. At that point, have to be looking towards targets at 25 and maybe even 20,000 bucks after that. Again, I'm not necessarily of the opinion that that's what's happening here, but that would be my condition for it. Let's see what the monthly looks like coming into closure here. Yeah, the monthly is a little more concerning as well. I mean, it does definitely deserve a bit of an explanation right now. I mean, we do have a doji. We took out the low side of it, and we're pretty damn likely to close below the low side of it too, which is 45,000 bucks within the next 3 days. Well, next 3 days, I don't know who the hell knows what happens in 3 days, but ultimately, I do think that will happen. So would this be confirmed top right here? If you're very aggressive in price action trading, then yes, you would say so. And it is a higher term time frame, which you can make those sort of assessments on higher term time frames, or at least that's when they're a little bit more interesting to kind of play out. But In this case right here, I'd still be going off the weekly trend, man. The weekly trend has always been your friend since the dawn of Bitcoin. It's always been your friend, man. It's always been your fucking friend. So I give that a lot of respect, a lot of respect. Okay, sweet. BNB will do well. Will it? Do you promise? Do you promise? CZ told me to buy the dip at $650, and now I can't find CZ. In fact, he keeps on trying to call me, but it's Margin who picks up on the other side. Margin, I want to speak to CZ. Where's my BNB? And here's a real chart, by the way. Oh, Lord. Oh, boy. CZ is a very interesting person, man. I've actually listened to him speak a few times now, and he's actually he expresses himself very well, and he does very good with his mouth. But I don't know, man. Something just always has rubbed me wrong about Binance. Maybe to my own detriment, but nope. I'd be looking for BNB to come back down about 280ish region. The only way that BNB does well, and the majority of this market, like 95% plus of things with this market, maybe even 99% of things within this market, is if Bitcoin does well. It's just been the trend since the dawn of time for for this asset class, and I don't think that BNB is anything different. Yes, it's had some phenomenal runs. It's definitely done. It definitely probably even outdid Bitcoin to the upside in this last one. But again, when Bitcoin starts to turn down, everything likes to come down with it. Mr. Legend Ali Z's, there he is. Greetings from CDMX. What the fuck is that? Forward daily and weekly. All right, let's check it out. We'll do the daily forward look right here. Symbol F on your stock exchange. Hey, what's up, 777? There he is. My man. Okay, forward, still breaking out. Still like it. Still really like it, actually. I'll be looking towards 16.5. And 17.5 are going to be the next major areas of interest. But I have the same thing to say about this one as I do on a couple of the other very long-term charts that we looked at that have gone through like a 12-year or 20-year long accumulation phase right here. I do think we might be seeing this one actually resolving this year. Momentum oscillators are good. We're still trending up on volatility on the monthly, by the way. We have a monthly higher low. We have change behavior on volume signature right here too. To me, this is more of a question of when, not if, although, you always have to account for other weird things to happen. But in this case right here, I mean, this is very difficult to ignore. This is obvious long-term, very long-term accumulation for 20 years now, more than 20 years, actually. I don't know if it's ready to actually break this level long-term just yet. I think it will very likely test it this year, maybe maybe early next year. But could it reject there, come back down, take like another couple of years to bake, and then give another major try to the upside, with targets towards $30 and beyond? Possibly, yes. I mean, this is still, it's not everything that I'm looking for in a macro breakout just yet. It's definitely baking a lot of them, though, I would say. Terrence Duffy, the third, says, hey, Mr. Biederin, been looked at? Yeah, we did look at it. You're messing with my morning routine streaming early. Yeah, man, I had to start this one a little bit early because I have an appointment soon enough that I need to get to. But, let's just ignore the monthly on Ethereum. Let's just ignore this one. That looks pretty awful. That looks pretty nasty. Jesus, man. I'd be looking for Ethereum to come down, assuming that Bitcoin comes down to somewhere around like 23 to 2200-ish region. Try for a low somewhere around there. If things really get nasty, maybe a wick down to the 200 at like 1900, but it really depends on how far Bitcoin goes here. If Bitcoin goes down to like 32, yeah, I'd be looking for Ethereum at about 18 or 1900. Bitcoin comes down to like 34, 35, I'd probably be looking somewhere around like 22, 23 region. Yo, Shroom Guy is back. Who is Shroom Guy? Who's Shroom Guy, sir? Marijuana Community says, Bitcoin will always go up. Well, actually, over the last couple of weeks, it seems to have not gone up, sir. Could you explain to me what has gone wrong? Do you happen to have contacts within the Bitcoin network to tell me what the price action will be? Because number not go up. What the fuck, man? I bought based off that information, and number not go up. Now I'm wrecked. I want a refund, man. Marijuana Community. Legalize it. Although, not so sure about the analysis. What's up, Anthony? Anthony says, hello, Senor Krown. Hello, Senor RC. Do you ever use VWAP? And if not, okay, so volume weighted average price. It's basically like a moving average based off of volume. No, I don't use it, but I doesn't mean that I don't like it. I just use regular EMAs and SMAs because I have more experience with that and I like it. It's just, I go over experience than anything else, but you'll notice that the VWAP is going to be pretty damn similar, typically speaking. And what I do like using, though, is the volume profile right here. Volume profile, which I think is actually, kind of going to get that more at least relevant for my particular strategies. Again, doesn't mean that's bad. I know plenty of traders who use VWAP and they love it, and fair enough. Fair enough. Anyways, Alanos is watching since Elsa's 20k boobies. My fucking man. Now a full-time trader. Thanks. Oh, you went full-time. Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Okay, so, and you did it without the program too. That's fucking amazing. I'm actually really, really happy for you. I'm really, really happy for you. That is seriously fucking cool, man. Seriously, congratulations. It's not an easy thing to do. It's really not an easy thing to do to become a full-time trader. And it sounds like you're just fucking killing it, man. That is really, 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 really awesome stuff. And that's just cool as hell, man. I fucking love that. I fucking love that, man. I spent a lot of time thinking about that sort of stuff. Like I really don't I'm not paying lip service to it. Like it actually means a lot to me because I know what that whole roadmap is kind of like, and I know that ain't fucking easy, and to be able to do that, man, that's extremely fucking cool. That's extremely fucking cool, man. God damn, that is sick. That is awesome, man. That is fucking awesome. Yasik, what's up, man? He's got some emoticons going on right there. Oh my god, the safe moon shillers are back too. Holy shit. Vitalik dumped on y'all's heads. Did he? Maybe. What if you were dumping with him though? Are you responsible too? Can you talk about the market? Sir, we've been talking about the market for about an hour and 43 minutes right now. Well, the thing is, like, you have to be happy for others, man. You have to be happy for others because you realize that, one, a rising tide lifts all ships. And, one less person who's, like, without financial troubles, or at least, like, on a path that they fucking like, that's one less person who's, contributing to like negative shit within the world. And it actually does matter because that ripples out, man. That fucking ripples out to all the people that you're connected with too. And so you just don't know where that kind of shit can happen from. And if you need some consideration on that, just take some psychedelics and you'll figure it out. Anyways, I'm just hiding in the shadows. All right, all good, man. I'll let you go back to the shadows then. The moon's not safe, says Brian Davis. I don't know if the moon's not safe. We can actually look at it if it's on TradingView. I dare I look? Dare I look? I don't know if this is the right one though. This is Safe Moon Inu. Is that like a doggy coin wrapped fucking Safe Moon? I don't know. Actually, not a bad chart right here, to be fair. What we can do is we can look at doggy coin. Let's see what doggy derp is coming down to. Oh, doggy derp. Doggy derp loves the lower highs. Oh, it loves the lower highs. Hidden bearish evidence the whole way through. Death cross right here. Tested once, tested twice. Go fuck yourself after that. Coming back down to about 28.5, 29 cent. I would be looking for bounces somewhere around, somewhere around 28-ish region. Now, this one, again, I stick with what I've been saying for ages now. I do think that over the next year or two, this one very, very likely will come down below 10 cents, but it can take a while here. I mean, this one did have a pretty nice move to the upside. So I'd even be looking for another like macro base, maybe somewhere around like 20 cent first. It's going to take a long time before that actually does play out. But Reddit doggy coins still triumphantly posting about buying the BTFD. At some point though, the old ammo to BTFD does run out. It will run dry, and then it's no more moon times. It's better, or I'm buying Shiba. Do you want to look at Shibi? Hey, what's up, Juan Gonzalez? How you doing, man? Nick, good morning to you. Doggy had people a long time to make $1 and get out. It was very generous. Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, Doggy Coin had like all the critical signs that you look for on like, just a really overblown market, right? You got Elon Musk getting in the game. You got all sorts of like rappers and fucking porn stars posting about how they bought the doggy stocks, right? And they're actually still in profit, and that needs to go away. Soldier Boy even getting his dick wet in the game too, man. Soldier Coins getting into the game. Having an exuberant event like right here. I mean, that was literally the fucking top. And there's no greater evidence of this market being a meme of itself than literally a coin, which, look, a lot of cryptos, like, they actually have some really interesting ideas and can do some pretty damn cool stuff. But then you got fucking Doggy Derp, which literally does nothing, has no active development on it, getting played up by, well, billionaires and whatnot, getting all the love for whatever reason. All right, we'll I think we'll go on I think we'll go back to Bitcoin really quickly here, and we'll wrap this bitch up because I do need to start. Yeah, I do need to start thinking about getting a move on here. All right, cool. So Bitcoin, again, I do favor the short-term downside here. Momentum also is turning down across the board. We got 4-hour TSI turning down once again. If it does cross below the zero read, which will be happening, if Bitcoin does close below 36,630-ish region, then I would be looking for that next move down to about 35, maybe a little bit lower than that. We see 4-hour phantom div and regular hidden bearish divergence. We even see 12-hour, I believe, confirming it as well, or at least in progress right here on another lower high. We see obviously on this chart over here with all momentum oscillators on the short-term time frames turning down right now as well. 4-hour is going to be downside angles as long as below 39,350. 3-hour going to be 39 almost even. 5-hourly is going to be about 38.7, and hourly is probably going to be flip-flopping a bit here, but currently at about 37,000 bucks. Pressure remains to the downside for right now. I think the 12-hour is also going to be turning its way down if we close below 36.6, it's going to be considered a rejection of the bullish controls on there. So ultimately, I do favor the downside right here, but like I've been saying before, I would still give Bitcoin a chance somewhere around its current low, anywhere between 32 to 35,000 bucks. I know that's a pretty damn wide range, but you just don't know where fucking Wick will land on this very very intelligent and highly leveraged market. However, if Bitcoin starts to close dailies below 32,000 bucks, I do think it's pressure onto the downside once again. I would be looking for at least another multi-$1,000 move below 30,000 bucks. But I'd give it a chance to bottom out here first, at least one or two more times. And if it starts to slow down, especially if it starts to slow down anywhere around like low 30,000 bucks, that's going to be, at least in my opinion, a good sign for that Wyckoff accumulation schematic over here. It doesn't need to be exactly like this, but something similar to that would be more or less good. But for right now, yep, I imagine the majority of this market comes down with it, as it typically does. And I think that's a good place to leave it off. Oh, actually, again, as always, can I be wrong as fuck? Yeah, I can be wrong as fuck. And where would you know that Krown's gonna be wrong as fuck and you should burn him and hang him and torture him to death? Well, that would be above the range highs right here. Again, if you're looking at this as an accumulation, it's not until we get back above range highs right here, which was akin to this area right here at about 42,000 bucks. Where I'd even be considering a more prolonged upside move, probably to like 47, maybe even 50,000 bucks. But until that happens, it's still just a ranging behavior right here, and I believe that we just tested the range highs once again. It's basically the same analysis as yesterday, except yesterday I was about a day early on this one. So with that said, I want to salute you once again. I will probably not be live tomorrow, but maybe I will, depending upon if the market's moving or not. But with that said, I want to wish you well. Take care, and hopefully see